Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 4.3 of the Living to Thrive with Cancer podcast. I'm Catherine White, and I am so excited to have you here with me today. This episode is really interesting because it's based on a conversation that I had with a client recently. And she brought up on one of our calls that there are so many different modalities for doing holistic work as you move through your cancer process, and how everyone seems to have their own way of navigating their cancer diagnosis. And this led to a discussion around this idea of when you're in a yoga class, your teacher might remind you to keep your eyes on your own mat, that it's your own practice and you get to do it in your own way. So I thought this would make a great episode because I know for myself even, I can get very overwhelmed by the number of things that people are doing and feeling like maybe I need to be doing more or doing things differently. So today we're going to take a look at how cancer is an individual process, how knowing what is available to you can be overwhelming, and why it's important to always listen to your own inner voice to prevent overwhelm. If you are a new listener, I want to welcome you to the podcast. I am Catherine White, a cancer thriver, using my stories and experiences with stage 4 colon cancer to guide you through your walk with cancer. As a holistic cancer coach, I support individuals through creating health-building lifestyles, managing stress, and navigating the day in and day out stuff that comes up when you have cancer. If you find what you've learned here today to be helpful, please share it with other people that you know that may benefit from this episode. Sharing helps me to support other people that are living with cancer and help them to move from survivor to thriver. And if you're enjoying the podcast and you want to have it drop into your inbox, go ahead and subscribe wherever you're listening. You can follow on YouTube, and I would love for you to go to the show notes and get your name on my weekly email list. That way you can follow my path to thriving with cancer and how I'm using what I've learned to support you in your own walk towards your goals of becoming a cancer thriver too. And when you sign up, you will get a free download gift from me. So go ahead and head to the show notes and get yourself on my weekly Thriver email list. Welcome to the Living to Thrive with Cancer podcast, a podcast about the big and little issues that come with living with cancer. I'm Catherine White, a stage 4 colon cancer thriver, passionate about supporting others who have faced a cancer diagnosis and are looking to feel empowered in taking back control of their health and happiness. My own walk with cancer helped me to learn more about myself and how to live with cancer, and it led me to become a holistic cancer coach so I can support others to move from survivor to thriver. So let's get started. All right, welcome. So here we go. We are going to be addressing this idea of keeping your eyes on your own mat. I think we can all agree that there is a lot happening when you not even receive your cancer diagnosis, but even before you receive your diagnosis, when you know that there's something going on and you maybe are talking to people about it and they're suggesting maybe it's this or maybe it's that or try this or try that. And that state of overwhelm can start even before you know that you have a diagnosis, that you have cancer. And then when you start to add on to that, the fact that you're going through tests and through that discovery process, things can really start to ramp up. So I want to offer to you that this really is a very individual process. And it's really important as you move from discovery into diagnosis and then into treatment and beyond, that you have to stay in touch with yourself. That it's really important for you to stay connected to your inner voice and to your intuition and to really trust yourself to know what is best for you. So what happens when we get into this diagnosis phase is we go through this whole creating a plan, like this whole, what are we doing next? How are we moving you forward through the process? And so what starts to unfold is your unique plan. And what I've learned along the way is that everybody's plan is going to be different because everybody's cancer story is different. So how you are treated, the types of treatments that you get, whether they do surgery right away or not, whether they do surgery at all, whether you have treatments and then what types of treatments. Some people will get chemotherapy, some people will get radiation, some people will get immunotherapy. Like, it's really different for everyone. And a lot of this depends on not just the cancer diagnosis itself, but your personal response to how you are going through this process. So you are going to have your own version, and it's because you are a different person on the inside and the outside than other people that have the same diagnosis as you. Your physical and emotional responses are going to be determined by a lot of different factors. It could be things like where you grew up, what you ate when you were growing up, whether you drank lots of water or lots of pop. If you lived in a community where there was a lot of pollution in the air, or if you lived in the country where there was a lot of fresh air, whether you moved around or not and you had to be learning how to start over and over in your life, your emotional state as a child or as an adult in your household, any traumas that you've had, previous medical conditions and care, like the list goes on and on. Everything that happens to you over your lifetime is going to impact how you mentally and physically respond. And that's what makes this a very unique process. You could line up 10 different people with the exact same diagnosis, and it's not going to go exactly the same for each of them. There will be similarities, but there will also be differences, because all of those factors that I talked about and more are going to play a role in your physical and emotional terrain. And this is what makes cancer tricky, is that it's not a cookie cutter disease. And for many years, it was treated as a cookie cutter plan. Everybody got the same sort of treatment, but now we're starting to see that there are new drugs, there's immunotherapy that is available, there's genetic testing that's available, so that things can be a little bit more customized. But still, people are going to respond in an individual way. So whether it's a medical plan or a holistic plan, when you respond to treatments or don't respond to treatments, it's because of the similarities and the differences. And that's where this whole idea of keeping your eyes on your own mat is important, because we don't want to be comparing ourselves to other people. The whole thing is not textbook and can be unpredictable because of all the factors that I mentioned. So don't compare yourself to other people. Really focus on the inner work inside of yourself, who you are, where you are, and how you can navigate the process. That doesn't mean you can't talk about it with other people. That doesn't mean you can't seek support. I'm just offering that when you start to look around, it can start to get overwhelming. And it can get upsetting when you see other people responding in ways that you're not responding. But the fact of the matter is, you don't know what their physical and emotional terrain is. You don't know how they are navigating it. You just know what is working for you and what you need to do to make it work for you. So in this modern age of social media, it's common to see posts by other cancer survivors who sharing their personal experiences and how their story is playing out. And some of these stories are really beautiful to watch and to listen to, and they're very uplifting. And it's exciting to see other people doing well, but it can also be a little bit overwhelming. And it can be sad when you're seeing stories that are going well, but you don't feel like yours is going well, or their story's going well and you don't feel like you can access the same resources that they are. And it can be hard when you see stories being shared that are tragic, because not everybody's story goes well. And that can be really deeply saddening. And that's where, as I said, each cancer story is going to be different, and each cancer patient is different. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about here. One of my clients expressed that at a certain point, she had to stop following other people with cancer and watching their stories on Instagram. She said that it brought to her this underlying tone of competitiveness, because she has a competitive nature. And in that, then she would get angry that others were able to do surgeries that weren't being offered to her, or holistic treatments that she didn't have access to. And it started to create this feeling in her that she wasn't doing enough. And that led to the thought that she wasn't trying hard enough. and that her story wasn't going to go well. And that's a sneaky thought. We've talked about those. That's a sneaky thought. Other people are having success and I'm not. And that's not always true. Successes are measured in different ways. So this individual, we actually coached through the idea of maybe stepping back from social media and not focusing what other people were doing, but instead going inside and focusing on herself and what was working for her. And it ended up being for her this really good mental health break from watching other people and carrying that emotion of their emotions that compounded her emotions. So clearly, like, health is not, again, a cookie cutter thing, and it doesn't come from looking around. Your health and getting healthy doesn't come from comparing yourself to other people. Now, that's not to say that looking around has to be a problem. There's a lot that you can learn from seeing holistic modalities or medical procedures that other people are doing and trying. And it might open up doors and opportunities for you to explore those things and bring them into your own life. But I want to offer that it takes a certain inner strength to be able to look around and not get overwhelmed and to not compare. And it takes a certain amount of inner strength to stop looking around when it becomes too much. So just really be aware of that. Really be in tune with yourself and gauge your emotions and your feelings and your physical responses. And maybe you need to take a little break. Maybe you need to keep your eyes on your own mat for a little while and then go back and revisit how other people are doing. Because we do, in the cancer world, want to be supporting each other, but we first need to be supporting ourselves. It's that analogy of donning your own oxygen mask that on an airplane, they tell you to put your own mask on first before you help somebody else, because you're no good to anybody else if you aren't safe first. And first and foremost, as you go through this walk with cancer, is ensuring that you are safe and emotionally cared for. So this leads into the conversation of why it's important to be aware and to listen to your inner voice to prevent overwhelm. And as I was saying, this is about self-awareness. In chapter 9 of my book, Living to Thrive, I talk about managing your mind and I talk about self-awareness, because I think these are really key factors in the cancer process. In moving from survivor to thriver, mindfulness and self-awareness are going to be a great tool for you. You need to know what your limits are and when to turn down the volume on other people's stories so that you can stay present in your own. Being present is really important. You want to tune into your talking to yourself, what voice is coming up in your head. You want to tune into your heart, what emotions are coming up inside of you. And you sometimes, and I talk about this in the book too, you have to turn off the people that are talking to you on the outside. If it's not feeling like it's supportive, if it's not feeling like it's working for you, you have to turn that off. So it's that yoga teacher's reminder of keeping your eyes on your own mat, glancing around, talking to other people, admiring even what other people are doing, but coming back to that thought of when I start to compare myself to other people, I need to come back to myself and make sure that I'm caring for myself first. Because, as I said, you are unique, and so is your physical and emotional terrain. So, bringing it back to the yoga piece, some people will go deep into a pose while other people are going to do it in their own way for their own reasons. The invitation is always to modify through your practice, doing it in your own way. So comparison, as I've said, is going to take you outside of yourself, and it's also going to allow your energy to be taken away from you. Your energy is really important to your own success emotionally and mentally. And when you give your energy away to other people, when you allow the things that are happening on social media, the stories that you're hearing to take your energy, you are depleting your inner resources. And you need all the resources that you can get when you're moving through discovery and diagnosis and treatment and post-cancer life. So when you are on your own figurative mat, That's where you're learning to manage your mindset, to be aware of your emotions, to what the responses are that those emotions and thoughts are eliciting, and to do what's not just available to you, but to what feels right for you. Like, I cannot say that enough. You have to do what feels right for you and what works for you. Because trying to do everything, the physical and the emotional and even the financial stuff, is exhausting. It's really hard to look around and think, why is that person able to do that and I can't? And compare your stories. So just remember that you are unique and you are a beautiful miracle, and that you don't need to look around. You can observe, you can be mindful of what other people are doing, but keep your eyes on your own mat. Maybe take that little sneak peek here and there, but do it without judgment and do it without comparison. Overwhelm and decision-making is a real thing, and everything from what you eat to medical decisions are going to be placed in front of you. So it's good to know your options and be open to new ideas. Just remember that what's good for one person doesn't mean that it's good for all. And the gift is being able to have those choices and take back some control of your life. So keep your eyes on your own mat, stay tuned into yourself, and do what feels right for you. I wanted to also share with you that there's a lot of things happening in my Thriver community right now. I am bringing in some new things and I want to share them with you. First of all, I am participating in a lot of live and virtual events over the next few months, and I'm going to link them below because I think that these are really great opportunities for you to not just attend something and hear me talk, but to hear other women speaking at these conferences that are women who are so inspiring and have great messages to offer. So the link to those conferences will be in the show notes. And I've also made some changes to my coaching offers so that you have options. I'm currently beta testing a monthly membership at a discounted rate for people who join during the beta test, and I would love to have you in the membership. You can learn more about that in the show notes. And I have created a new one-on-one coaching program called Thrive Cancer Coaching Program. It's a 12-week program that includes weekly private coaching calls, but I'm taking my clients into a different direction with a more specific and guided program. And that's why it's called a cancer coaching program, because it's not just mindset coaching anymore. It is actually a weekly laid out program for you to follow that's based in nutrition and healthy eating to support your body, content around mindset and your spirit to help you with things like keeping your eyes on your own mat. And as you do the program, we get to come together on our calls and set goals to support you while you're navigating your cancer story. So I'm linking that in the show notes also. And I referenced in this podcast that I have released my book, Living to Thrive, A Holistic Guide to Living with Cancer. It's now available on Amazon, and the link is in the show notes for you. I hope that you will find it and enjoy it and find it helpful. It's everything that I wish that I had known when I started my cancer process, and I really felt compelled to share some personal stories with you and the lessons that I have learned along the way to help support you in your goal of being a cancer thriver. Finally, if you have enjoyed this or other episodes, I'd really appreciate it if you would leave a review wherever you're listening. This helps me to reach more people like you who are looking for support and guidance and a different way to live with cancer. Thanks for being here today, and please watch for the next episode that features a very special guest who is sharing his cancer story and what he did to move from conventional medicine into holistic medicine to help him heal. I will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and may you live your life to your fullest, follow your heart, and thrive in all you do.